All right, now Jared, toss that camera off real quick.
Okay.
Somebody's here. Who's in? Hmm? Who's the Samsung? I can hear you. All right, Jared. You can keep your camera on actually, Jared.
Okay.
And then I don't know, is it I'm just playing around with the view here. Do you know like I'm recording it and I want to make sure that the main view is my face. Do you know how to do that?
So I know that so I'm on my phone, but I know that on the computer is a function where you can I know that I can scroll and make you the main you might just click your own face. So click the small square of you and it should make you bigger. I don't know if you can get rid of my face from your screen.
No, I'm not trying to get rid of it. I'm just trying to make mine because I have three boxes at the top and I think it's recording it and I'll be
You
up in the corner.
you should be able to just click your little square and it should just switch it. That's at least what happens when I click mine. Now my face is the
Ah,
biggest.
got it.
Okay.
All right, cool. So now we'll start.
Okay.
So now we unmute Jared and we'll go. Thank you. So, all right, this is to really like kick us off because it's been up in the air what we're doing and what we're about. But we're about commitment and high value, commitment to ourselves to be of service to everyone else, right? The title of these weekly meetings as they are now is Bravery and Brotherhood. So now that kind of hints to some valuable resources that you have no matter what. It's just a resource, right? So the well of being able to reach out to each other. And then the commitment part, right? The bravery about taking under or undertaking commitment. Um, we haven't got into the fasting portion, so we'll get into that first. We're gonna at least just cover like getting some fasting going, and I'll support you with some info on that by we're water fasting, so nothing but water. And there's ways to make sure that you feel good while you're fasting. So you're gonna want to get a supplement. You might need to go through Amazon to make sure you got the good stuff. But food grade Epsom salts for magnesium. Make sure it says food grade, or else you're drinking Epsom salts for your feet. you you don't want to do that. Don't make the mistake. I've never done it, but I know people have like really had a tough time finding this stuff. And then just table salt and potassium. And potassium makes it so that if you while you're working, you can't have that excuse that like, oh, I'm sore and stuff, because potassium makes it so that you won't be tight and rigid and stuff. So there you go. There's your three supplements and water. Something that really helps too is you need a mortar pestle, like to break down the powders. So put them all in there, all three at once, and grind them up and then toss them in your water and have that twice a day and then drink as much water as you need. Now the coffee is allowed. Some other people don't use coffee, but I'm saying I don't want to kill you guys. I don't want you to hate the whole thing. So you can have coffee with no cream, no adding anything, just black coffee, plain. Don't confuse that. And then you can have tea like at any point in the day. Nice hot cup of tea. The ones that I've been using is like black tea, ginger tea, and chamomile before bed. Because the other place you'll break your fast is right before bed. You're gonna say, "Oh, like, dude, I couldn't fall asleep, so I broke my fast, and then I was able to." Now, why fasting is so important here is because we're talking vice, right? Because a lot of our problems come from vice and comfort and all these things. And where we want to go, you have to break free from things you think you need versus what you really need to do, and things you really need, right? So like what I've discovered by doing exactly what I'm having you guys do is the food is like the right. Think of what a vice does, it grips. And so food and other attachments are really closely related. And when you delay that one, all the other ones just kind of fall by the wayside, because you say, is this on path or is this off path? And you can see this real clearly, that people know this makes sense when people, like, in conversation with whoever, you might offer the advice like, just trust your gut. Why are you overthinking it, man? Just trust your gut. Or like I wrote the other day when I did my daily journal, trust the mud. Like the mud meaning the most basic layer of your understanding is probably it, right? Like it's probably not far off anyway, and you can always readjust, because who isn't? So that's fasting in a nutshell, and we'll get into it of like other little places. Maybe I'll write it and you can look at it, or we'll just keep doing this as we do our weekly calls. What we'll do next is we're going to talk about the daily actions on, like, that one we haven't hit, so we got to hit the other daily actions: the journal, the cold shower, wake time. So let's start from wake time. Waking up at the same time each day means I'm obligated to wake up at that time. Now, I don't even care how late you get to bed, just wake up at the same time. Like sleep is somewhat required, because most of us live like all over the place with that. But if you just say I'm waking up no matter how tired I am at 5, at 6, 7, there you go. You started your day. And you'll naturally be tired at the proper time if you do that. So now sleep is figured out as soon as you make that first commitment. So that's a good thing, because sleep is like the only place that most people fast. But now our heightened state, right? Fasting, you'll discover, is a heightened state. You might be emotional at the onset, like at the beginning, you'll be like realizing, oh man, I'm kind of hangry. I'm kind of pissed that I don't have my coffee and my little nice little things. And I'm not sure if I've said this yet, but the suffering and sacrifice to that one will build to the really good shit. So anything we want, we need to suffer and sacrifice for, and being aware of that, I don't need this food to be able to sacrifice towards this thing. That heightened state allows you to think of what you want, what you really want, and all the things you don't need to get there. It will take an investment of your time, effort, thinking, organizing all this stuff. And what supports you with the fasting is that it drops all your stress. Your adrenaline peaks on fasting without any trigger, right? Like other than delaying your food. It's something you're going to walk away with some big perspective changes with not doing much, right? You're just sitting and saying, I'm not going to eat today. Most Americans haven't gone to sleep without food. We're just pot bellies, just drinking and eating and happy for no reason, burping and farting the whole way through. So we got to be stoic, right? We got to be calm under the pressure, and that's going to relate to everything we want as men and leaders. And I've raised these questions about, like, when were we boys and when did we discover we're men? Because not knowing where we are on that one, it's just kind of, I mean, for me, right, I'm nowhere different than anybody's. Like, I'm real curious of when I turned over that leaf. And the thing is when you started to realize you're responsible for other people, that's when you become a man. And usually it's way sooner than we think. But what we're led to believe is when we have the big income, we got a home, wife and kids and all these things, like that turned over at 18, that turned over at 21. We just didn't know it yet. We were still living in boy mindset, and boy mindset is dependent on other people, and male mindset is your mindset. Your mindset is when you're dependent on yourself and you know right from wrong and you choose right the majority of the time. We're not talking perfection, we're talking excellence. Because there's a big difference, right? Like, to pretend like I'm perfect or striving towards perfect keeps me small. And saying excellence over nothing is better. because if you ever waver, you know what to come back to right away. Let me get back to the daily action. I'm just riffing. I'm going full tilt. So the place we got to go is the daily action. So second part of this was, so wake time is covered. Now journaling is necessary, but it doesn't, you don't have to sit there all day thinking about everything you feel and get emotionally attached to whatever. Just note what's going on. Noting is awareness is all of this, right? To be able to pull up information and just, oh, I'm feeling this way. Okay. Working through that. How do I work through that? Right? Like ask yourself questions in there. Shouldn't be any longer than 10 minutes. And I got a cool thing I'm going to be adding in here as a tracker, and you'll be able to, it's a spreadsheet. I'll share it with you and you'll be able to click off all the things you do. And so now this is all on you. And what you'll do is just share a screenshot when you get all the daily challenges hit, and you just share your journal session right there. So that's something. Where are we going? Where are we going? Oh, cold shower. After you wake up, the cold shower. This is a tough one, but it's a tough one, but it's not, because I'm not saying stay in there all day. I'm saying just wake up, and it already sucks. So now go right into the cold shower. You'll be wide awake after that. Now your day's going. Now you have time, hopefully, before you have to be anywhere or be thinking for anybody else. So now this is when you meditate. This is when you do a little floor workout right next to your bed. Like you don't have to hit the gym. Now you see, with fasting, you're watching your diet. Some other support ideas there is like you're watching your last meal. So Sunday night, right? I go off of Monday's a fast day, Tuesday and Wednesday, open up food Wednesday night. You're intentional with your food there. You want high protein. So meat and vegetables. I don't care what you do, if you're vegan or whatever, but you want high density foods that last day before a fast. If it's high glycemic, sugar, calories, empty calories, all that stuff, carb, it's going to keep your insulin high and it's going to come down the next day. You're going to feel like shit. You're going to break your fast. If you keep it low, it'll stay low and you'll just be able to be smooth. The other thing is fasting helps you practice being able to perform under pressure, because you're already under a little pressure. So now when like things come in, you're just like, you're already vetting it. You're already like, how much energy do I need to expend here to get around this? Whereas if we have a surplus of energy, we give a surplus of emotional bullshit to it. We don't need to do that. It already will come. Like if you're pissed off enough, your energy will be there like right away. I know you got it. All right. So the journal isn't to go on and on about. It's just quick notes, how you felt. Week to week, it'll show up better. From like, what was my last meal before I did a fasting sequence? What was my opening meal? I usually like a steamed meal, or like cooked eggs or something easy on your stomach. But if you're at work or something, I mean, you can always just bring a protein shake, and then like 30 minutes after that, eat like something kind of gentle, but like protein, low glycemic, just like entering the fast. Entering and exiting are the same kind of meal. You don't want like the roughest salad in the world to start your fast or end your fast, right? I guess starting isn't as big of a deal, but you'll see, because what's going to happen is some of you guys will have some experiences on the toilet and you'll figure out really quick what I mean, because you're going to be like, wow, I'm having like the runs, man. And this isn't that fun. Now we get into the deeper conversation, humility. Like you're all alone, but you're already like, oh, I feel icky. I don't want to do this. Why? This is the stupidest thing ever. Like I'm having a bad potty. And what you have to do is get through that, because there are benefits of that. Take it as a lesson in humility, and where else could you use it? Maybe that's something you journal about. Now, workouts during this time isn't like go full bore and go full tilt. It's literally just take a walk. That's where I should get to, is that 30-minute walk. Like that's not hard. You could break it up 3 10-minute walks a day. Most of us usually get it. You're just not aware of it. So if you say I didn't do it because it's like all at once, that's not what I mean. If you can get it all at once, maybe that's on the weekend, maybe that's on your free time, and that's great if you got it. But the 10 minutes 3 times a day is great. So you check that box for sure. These are all like just easy habits. The cold shower is nice confronting of like all your apprehension and feelings of like, I can't have what I want. All this shit, it all comes up because you're like, I want to go in there because I want something, right? So you need to sacrifice your morning discomfort for the betterment of your day because it's the first tough thing out of the way. Now everything else can be easy. I think at this point, I'm basically laid it all out there off of the rip. I just want to do like 5 minutes. We'll fill 5 minutes. I think Jared's the only one that I'll be able to grab, but I want you to just riff for me about why a male initiation, what it all means, and then what maybe what you've been struggling with, brief on the struggle, because we're not going to be struggling long, right? These daily habits is gonna override all of these accidental ways we've been living, because it was just like we inherited some ideas from our parents, from our friends. Waking up late, it's okay. Not really knowing what I'm doing with my time is okay, and that's not really you. Everybody wants to grow, and so there's a good way to do it, and it fits within whatever thing you're working on. It's not like you got to go become a power lifter to do this. It doesn't mean you got to go become anything different than what you already are. It's just critiquing it. So here's Jared Wise. I think he's on mute still. One sec, you got to restart. There it is.
That's all right. Would you actually just repeat the first part, just so I can guide myself to respond correctly?
Got you. Got you.
Just what brought us to be a part of this? Is that what you said? Why?
Male initiation. I think that's the place to start. So why male initiation makes sense to you?
For me, yeah. So or just in general. So regardless, I'll do both. So for me though, I mean they go hand in hand. I'll make them together. So like um uh camaraderie and brotherhood. It's an unmistakable quality of life. Specifically, you know, as you've mentioned, amongst men and women as well. Like there's just a natural coagulation between the two genders, um, um, and because at least for those of us with our archetypal normal experiences of our gender expression, let's say, we all can relate just inherently with each other. And I know that, as an influence in life, having a motherly influence and a fatherly influence, or, is very important. And for me personally, being a part of this group, it's very important to have um, humble men striving for excellence, all coming together to share in compassion, but in accountability and strength, all at the same time. Too commonly, especially just for men, there's like a toxicity that's applied to toughness and a toxicity that's applied to capability and responsibility that ultimately only adds to the stigma of this world, and tears us down personally and fellow men and women and families and the world. So um, I yeah, I think it's extraordinarily important to and I think a great model to be a part of, and I think that you're doing a good job, a really really good job. I really appreciate everything you're doing for us and your community. That you know uh, I see myself guiding communities as well, and you definitely have taken a step in a direction that so you're an
Nice.
inspiration. So
Cool, man. Cool. Thanks for sharing that. And I'm just gonna wrap it up real quick in just a quick minute. So to some of those points, right? It's like, yeah, there are toxic forms of masculinity, but we're gonna clarify like where it's toxic and where it's helpful, how to use, let's face it too, toxic traits aren't all toxic. It's just how we use them. And chances are the toxic trait is asking you to use it in a responsible way. You just don't know what to do with it. And so, I believe all men are right. There's a quote, Jordan Peterson, um, to be dangerous, but know how to use that danger. that's being right on the money, is something like that. I'll find a good quote, but I didn't do it justice to that at all. But it's that men are leaders, like kind of inherently, and you think of like where you're not, maybe you're not like an alpha male type, like you can, I was there, right? I think every guy is, and if you don't have that initiation, like, here, these are the values I'm really gonna set as cornerstones of my actions, you just don't know what the fuck you're doing, and it's not your fault. Nobody's taking the time to be like, this is right, this is wrong. That's what we're about, and it doesn't really matter if you're 50, because you still have life to live, so you better get this shit straight. The age gaps really don't matter, because we just need to be critiqued by other guys and know really where we are, where's our power, where is good leadership come from, and where does it need to fall by the wayside. And that's for you to really, you have to ask these deep questions. And so yeah, I think I said everything I wanted to say in response to that. And to wrap it up, it's that we got to have each other. And even if we don't all jump onto the fast right away, maybe this is a discipline you jump into, is only eating with others, no secret snacking, because a lot of times you just don't need it. And maybe you sacrifice that eating time into some work because you're feeding your mind with these ideas. And then when you're with other people, maybe you go out of your way to spend some money on some food for them, share some food with them, ask them if they would eat, and then you eat too. And that's how you open the feeding windows for yourself. Like, if I don't have somebody to eat with, I don't eat. And you work on your passions, because that'll rightly order them. It's like, all right, if I'm not eating, I'm working, because your passion project is just as valuable wherever it is as anyone else's, but it goes by the wayside as soon as you stop working on it. Everything goes by the wayside if we're not holding ourselves to the flame. So those are the daily austerities, the daily challenges that'll take you through troubling times, right? Because you can use this at any point. These aren't tough enough that, like, it's not like hitting the gym and going way out of your way to go get this thing. It's like, from where I am now, as soon as I wake up to as soon as I go to bed, what do I have to be doing to be in the right state? I don't know if you've done like there's tons of resources about, like, even if you go watch like some Tony Robbins, right? He's got, everybody comes into a room and he's like, bah, nah, 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 and you're jumping around. You're different than when you walked in, right? Because like in your car, everybody gets their shit out in the car, because you might throw on the music, you set the vibe for yourself. But like in workplaces, or sometimes we're just not that aware of how we're conditioning ourselves in our free time. So if we're just like playing the game and just like a low state, we're just kind of riding that wave. We're just kind of letting it be. But if we go, all right, I'm going to work right now, and you play a song and then you get to work, like that changed the sequence of what's going to happen after. So like before I got on here, I was talking with some other guys and they got me hip. And then I was like, all right, here, boom, use it right away. Don't let it die with that conversation. Use it right away. Yeah, likely like the time that you think you need to get your shit together is a lot smaller, but you need to have been sharpening your sword. That's a great place to end it. So I'll upload this into the group. Be well, guys. Peace.